Hello everybody. If you've been a viewer of mine for a little while, you might recognise this tree. I call it the Octopus, and we'll just give you a quick shot of the root base, and I think that'll tell you all you need to know about why it's called an octopus, or the octopus. Yeah, so there's your root base. I can almost picture this sort of squirming its way across the sea floor in some sort of David Attenborough documentary, but that's all weird and twisty roots. Some of them have died, but I'm leaving them there because they all add to the composition of making me think of an octopus. This is a Viburnum, and I actually dug this out of the ground here when we moved into this house, which it was around 28 years ago. My eldest daughter was a toddler when we moved in, and she's now 30, so yeah, had this tree a very long time. As you can see, the leaves are bursting now, so I'm going to repot it, even though it's only the 16th of February, and just to blow my own trumpet, I gave up smoking this day in 2016, so I've been tobacco free, nicotine free since then. Yay me. It's still trying to flower, this tree. If I can get the camera to move, there's a flower bud just trying to open just there, and remains of flower buds that were clobbered by the frosts we had last week. It flowers November, December, January time each year, but the flowers are very delicate, and a hint of a whiff of frost at the wrong stage, and they just go brown and just become this soggy, horrible mess. So fortunately the rest of the trees is very hardy, so that's a good thing. Yeah, all the buds are popping. But before we start the procedure, I'll just give you a quick 360. The pot is terribly green at the back, showing where it didn't get as much sunlight, and I've got the odd dead piece like here, odd strange looking thick pieces that come up and just end in this twiggy place that I want to get rid of, but we'll be doing all that. First thing I need to do is cut off these guy wires that are holding these big fat branches horizontal, and hopefully they won't spring up too far. We shall see. Oh, that's a good sign. These have actually been on there quite a while, a couple of years in fact. They have left a bit of a mark in that branch, but nothing I lose any sleep over. There we go. Perfect, they haven't moved at all. Excellent. So that wire just ran under the pot from one side to the other, and held those branches down very nicely. Okay, so as I say, it's well, this is my first major repot of anything this year. I did do a small little tree off camera yesterday, just for the sheer hell of it, but it's probably not ideal in certain parts of the world. Heck, even in the north of the UK, people would be advising you against repotting just yet. But looking at the 10-day forecast, we've got no frost or anything forecast for the next 10 days at least. We're going to be in double figures during the day and only down to about 4 or 5 degrees overnight, so with a bit of shelter this tree should be okay. It's not wanting to come free from the pot. I didn't think it would. It has been in here a very, very long time. So I say a very, very long time. I think it's been in here 3 years, possibly 4. So just using my trusty old penknife and just trying to loosen around the edges of the pot so that we can lift it out. I know I'm going to do a bit of damage, but the pots around the roots around the outside are the ones that are going to get chopped anyway. So this pot's got a little bit of a lip, but not a huge one there, so I think it'll come out without too much difficulty. Nearly. I still say, I stand by, it's a good thing to let your tree sit in the pot for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years even, and get a little bit root bound. You will get better growth at the top than if you repot it yearly, but you will have this struggle to get it out of the pot in the end. See if I can get my root hook under there and kind of lever it up. What I don't want to do is damage the pot. That would make me sad. Here it comes. Finally. Hurrah! Okay, so the drainage screens have come out, tied up in that knot of roots somewhere, so I'm going to have to procure some new ones. But the first thing I'm going to do now is wash the grime off of this pot. Should have bought a bigger washing up bowl, never mind. It's just hot soapy water and my ever reliable little nylon brush to get some of this grime off. Anyway, you get the gist with that, so I'll turn the camera off now, finish this, and we'll come back in a minute. There we go, that looks better, much better. I just spotted written in the bottom of the pot, £15 paid for that pot, so it shows you I've had it quite a while, because you would be very lucky to find a pot of that weight and quality now for £15. Well, there you go. Move that to one side. And we can bring the tree back in. And the culprit making it quite so difficult to get out, or partially, is this big old root down the side here, which I've damaged considerably, but you can see where some thick old roots going around the outside of the pot, so they're going to need to come off. Some people prefer to work the top and then work the roots, others do it the other way around. Some of my trees I've already worked the top over the winter, so that when it comes to repotting them I've only got the roots to work. It will just speed it up once we get to that window of, well, in the next couple of weeks of doing a lot of root pruning. I'm going to take this opportunity to remove some of this old gacky soil that's been in there a while, and some of this moss stuff, and some of these big old ugly roots at the bottom. I like the big old ugly roots at the top. I just don't want big old ugly roots in the bottom. I'm just going to keep chipping away. Get rid of those. Now, Let's see if I can find where the origin of this is and how far back I can go. Okay. I have an old pair of cutters that I reserved just for root work. And I'm actually going to take this back all the way to there. Like so. Start pulling out this big stuff that's wrapped around and round. So I'm not going to take all the soil off the root ball. I don't think that's necessary with this particular tree, particularly as you know, its nibari is pretty much already set, and I'm not going to be combing out roots or anything of the like. I'm very happy with these roots as they are. I am going to try and get rid of some of the stuff from the top, as I say, that's particularly gacky, and then I can replace it with some nice fresh soil, but I don't feel the need to pull it all out as I would if I was trying to improve a more conventional nibari. I am going to try and actually raise this slightly in the pot to show this off even more than it has been. So I'm just using this nylon brush just to clean out some of this area where I always get a lot of moss as well, and as I've said many times, it's totally an aesthetic thing, and lots of people cultivate moss to grow on their trees. I really don't like it growing around the base of my trees, so okay, so let's have a little bit of a tidy up, get rid of all this old stuff, make sure I don't lose any of my tools. Once we cleared the decks a bit, better see what I'm doing a bit more. Okay, well, I don't want to leave the tree out of the pot any longer than I have to, but now I've cleared the decks a little, I can just get in under there a bit better. As I say, I do want to just raise the tree up just a little, so that these roots are, or octopus legs, whatever you want to call them. I like to think of them as octopus legs, so that they can just be raised up out of the soil. So in my mind then they are tentacles, that's what I'm looking for, octopus tentacles. Perfect. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Let's shove that to one side. No, I'm going to keep that there. Bring back in the pot, and then we can start filling it up. So before I go any further, I'm going to remove the tree once again, and I'm going to add in some of this controlled release fertilizer, a generous amount. I'm just going to work it into the top centimetre or so. Having done that, just scoop it back up like I had before, and then I can work the tree down. Perfect. Okay, so if I lift it up, I can now see the roots are much higher in the pot. Now, yeah, I'm really liking that. Brilliant. Okay, so and now I'm going to sort of drizzle some of the fertilizer down, as I've said in other videos, by having it at the top. Obviously, as you water down, the water goes through your pot and it'll take some of that fertilizer down into the bottom of the pot. And I've never understood the people who say, oh, we'll put it in the bottom of the pot and then the roots will quest for it and go down to it. I always think, well, if you've got a really good free draining compost, anything that's in the bottom is just going to go straight out through those drainage holes. It won't benefit the plant particularly. It won't benefit the plants underneath perhaps, but that's just me. Okay, so a nice little layer over the top. Back round, making sure my roots are still raised up over the side of the pot. So this is just some plain unadulterated potting grit, which I'm just going to sprinkle over the top. Didn't bring enough. I thought one scoop would do it, but no. Move that to one side and I can give it a good drink. Just to make sure you don't want that dust sitting in there and just sort of gluing up between the particles like concrete. Okay, there we go. Now the repot is complete. Okay, so if we bring the camera down a little so you're a bit more level with the pot, you can now see that the roots stand quite high, and yeah, even more so than ever I feel. It looks like an octopus with its tentacles just wriggling across the sea floor. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm happy with that. I've always loved the root base of this tree. Okay, now to do some work on these big old branches. First thing I want to do is get rid of that chunky lump there. Which really detracted from the tree. One thing with this tree is it doesn't take wire in very well. As you can see, that snapped as I've tried to bend it down. Just as I was about to say to you, it doesn't wire well because it doesn't bend well. That's gone, but that's okay. There's still a lot of branches. What I want to do is take out stuff like this that are going back towards the trunk. It throws out all sorts of, well, a multitude of buds and shoots from all over the place. But I'm going to take that lump out entirely. As it's even shooting in here, right from back in towards the beginning of the branch, straight up. So that's no good. I just want to keep some of these that are. See this piece just crossing. So I'm going to take out that, take off those flower buds, take this back to a bud that's shooting in that direction. They bud in pairs, alternatively horizontally and vertically. So yeah, it's quite good for the clip and grow method, but it does do this dying back from time to time. Dead piece there. And crossing pieces. That may seem like quite a lot, but as I said, I've had this tree for 30 years and you have to keep doing this. It's a sort of repeated pattern almost. I'm toying with the idea of just taking off this entire section. In fact, no, I'm not toying with the idea. I'm going to do that. Just remove that chunk and then I can nibble the rest away. Okay, so now I can leave these pieces. These pieces can come out and fill in that gap, and I've lost that ugly congealed lump that was there, which I would pick up and show you, but I can't see it. It's shot off somewhere. So moving round, it's getting darker by the second here. That's not affecting the video too much, but it's going to rain any second, I think. So and just moving stuff that's going to grow in the wrong direction is growing straight up. Anything that it's going to be detracting from what I like to think of as the beauty of this tree, even though I know to some people's eyes it's a bit of a monstrosity. I've removed the last of these flower buds. I don't want the tree wasting its energy flowering at this point. It needs to put its energy into some new shoots for me to wire and prune. Okay, back with this branch. So I've cut back most of the top here. I do have a kind of unsightly bulge which I'm going to try and lessen a little by taking off that, just nibbling it back slightly. How does that look? That looks a little better. I might work on that a bit more in the summer. There's a bud above and bud below and a bud to the side, so that will hopefully fill that in a little better. So move you back out and we'll give you the good old-fashioned 360. As I say, it's don't I always say, and then I've missed the spot. Do you know what? I'm going to miss that entire spot. Like so. That's better. The big old ugly scar, but it'll close over eventually. Or not. I can live with a big old ugly scar better than that big old ugly lump of wood that was sat there offending my eye. So 360. I know some will say it's a terrible ugly tree, but I loves me an ugly tree. That's going to go on the bench now in the shade house, where it'll be protected from any bright sun that we might have, more importantly any wind, so can dry the branches before the roots get going again. And then in a few weeks it'll be able to come out into the spring weather. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please take care of yourselves. Stay safe.